I do want to talk about Tumbler Ridge.
5 children, 1 adult killed at school. 1 child, 1 adult killed in a home. And the 18-year-old shooter dead, police say, by her own gun.
An individual confirmed to be the shooter was located deceased with what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
There are very few places in the entire country that have ever seen mass shooting violence like this.
How? How is this possible? In Tumbler Ridge? It's just completely unfathomable.
So in Tumbler Ridge, BC, tiny remote town, some 2,400 people living in the foothills of the Rockies. This was seismic, and for the first 24 hours, almost completely opaque.
It wouldn't be fair to speculate on that. We're still making those determinations. I think we will struggle to determine the why.
But now we know the suspected shooter, more about her history with police, more about her victims, and more about the sequence of events. Let's go through it.
The alarm went off that I've never heard before. And our principal goes throughout the halls and she's saying, people close your doors, lock down.
What we know of the story from the RCMP is that it starts at one end of town and ends at the other. We know the most about the ending. That's here, Tumbler Ridge Secondary School. Student population somewhere around 160. At around 1:20 p.m. Pacific time, police get a call.
RCMP received a report of an active shooter at Tumbler Ridge Secondary School.
An alert goes out, describing the shooter as a female suspect in a dress with brown hair. The standing order to the public, shelter in place. Because when police arrived, they themselves were immediately in danger.
Upon arrival, there was active gunfire, and as officers approached the school, rounds were fired in their direction.
From this point, we learned 3 important things from police. 1, they never shot back. The shooter appeared to kill herself at some point after police arrived. 2, there were casualties. More than 20 people with injuries, at least 2 of them life-threatening, and 6 people dead. 1 of them an educator at the school, the other 5 kids, some as young as 12.
Most of our victims are quite young. Most were born of the students, most were born 2013 and 2012.
Then the 3rd thing we learned, police also found guns, plural, a long gun and a modified pistol. Guns we would later learn the shooter may have had a license to use at one point, except at the time of the shooting, her license had already expired, at least a full year prior.
I believe it was in 2024. She did not have any firearms registered to her.
But I said earlier, the school, victims found in the hallway, in the library, this was the end of the story. Police say it started at some point earlier at this home right here, about a 2-kilometer drive away. This was where police would only later find 2 more bodies, those belonging to the shooter's mother and stepbrother.
We were called because a neighbor, there was a young female at that home that...
I'm going to be honest, it just has the workings. It looks like it has the workings of a Order of 9 Angles style radicalization. Like right off the jump. As soon as like people started speculating that the shooter was trans, I was like, oh, there it is. Like another Terrorgram hit, seemingly. But we'll see.
Went to the neighbors, and that's how we learned that there were 2 deceased at that residence. So the neighbor called the police.
Besides the fact that the shooting rampage started in the family's home, then moved to and ended at the local high school, we know from the RCMP a few more things.
What is the Order of 9 Angles? There have been instances... There have been instances where people get radicalized on these sorts of like insane. The government's official designation is like the government's designation is like violent nihilist extremists. Order of 9 Angles is like a white nationalist front that focuses on like radicalizing people. Is like occultist Nazi, like occultist, satanic, esoteric Nazi ideology. They recruit through Roblox. Sounds fucking stupid, but they recruit like kids, oftentimes like kids with deep, mental health complications through Roblox and things like that. No, I'm not putting gel on the hair, man. Calm down. Lock in. Some of their they operate in Telegram groups called Terrorgram. And it's like basically the most nihilistic, most insane version of like what you think neo-Nazis could believe. Like these, like it's worse than Nick Fuentes, if that makes sense, where they just straight up celebrate mass shooters. Their goal is to try to actively radicalize one another into and egg them into engaging in an act of engage into some sort of like mass shooting.
This story contains
helpless, vicious cycle that these two government-known hate groups and terrorist organizations across several different countries. On Reddit, there was
like they've had a hit in Turkey and numerous other places. The murders of two people outside of LGBTQ bar plus first looked like an act of a lone shooter. A ProPublica and Frontline investigation shows they were, in fact, the culmination of a coordinated international recruiting effort by online extremists. It's pretty wild because there's literally like, they're traceable. They're trackable. I suspect that there's feds in these groups, but I guess maybe not. Or maybe they know and they don't give a shit. But they celebrate, the Christchurch shooter. They celebrate Anders Breivik. Some of the telltale signs that this is yet another version of that usually is when you look at the shooter's guns and their posts. They will sometimes inscribe famous high-profile white nationalists and white supremacist shooters all over their gear.
About the shooter. Like I said at the start, 18 years old. Her name was Jessie Van Rootselaar. Female, but apparently born as a biological male. Began transitioning about 6 years ago. Had a history of mental health issues.
Police had attended that residence on multiple occasions over the past several years, dealing with concerns of mental health with respect to our suspect. I can say that on different occasions, a suspect was apprehended for assessment and follow-up. Concerns regarding mental health, self-harm.
Police would even go so far as to say some of those...
Yeah, the Terrorgram groups are too decentralized. They have no like centralized command structure, nothing like that.
Those concerns involved guns.
Police have attended that residence in the past, approximately a couple of years ago, where firearms were seized under the criminal code. I can say that at a later point in time, the lawful owner of those firearms petitioned for those firearms to be returned, and they were.
People will look at like guns, repeated mental health visits. This should have been a red flag. How do you process those?
Well, the big question is red flagged up to a certain point, and how many red flags do you need to act? And because you have to bear in mind that the RCMP has to operate within a certain legal framework.
But what police have already admitted they may struggle to figure out is, in all of this, the why.
There's going to be a lot of legwork that will need to be done by investigators on the ground to try to determine whether or not there were there were flags that should have been picked on and were not.
They did say there didn't appear to be any specific targeting of any specific students at the school, but that may change as police learn more. And they pointed out the shooter wasn't even a current student at that school. She dropped out of school around 4 years ago. So on the crucial question of motive, a real mystery, what drives someone to open fire at a school they don't attend? Police don't know.
TMZ's Harvey Levin has
It's crazy that they're like, of course, the right-wing hogs in Canada are instantly fucking talking about how the shooter is trans. Which, once again, like in a sea of white, cisgender, heterosexual mass shooters, the one time it's a trans person, immediately they're like, oh, it's because it's trans. Okay. So the 99,000 times this happens, or not 99,000, but like, you know, the thousands of times where this happens when it's a cishet white guy, it's also because they're cishet whites. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's totally ridiculous. It's I don't know. I think, like, you know damn well this ain't the first time. Brother, one time in the United States of America, there have been like 3 fucking mass shooters that are trans, you dumb fuck. What are you talking about? There are hundreds of mass shootings that take place. As far as the school shootings go, let's be fucking real for a second. It's usually cishet white dudes. Okay? The fuck are you talking about? The only reason why this doesn't happen as frequently in places like Canada as it does in the United States of America is because of adequate, usually, yes, if it's 99% of mass shootings being committed by 99% of mass shootings being committed by cishet white men, and the 1%, not even the 1%, 0.01% of mass shootings committed by trans people, if you still think this is a trans issue, so not one time, see ya. Do you understand how math works? Are you that fucking stupid? Yeah, not one time. Okay, 3 total in the entire world, dude. Lol, see ya. Yeah, good point you made, you fucking moron. What the hell is this? Hogs are so fucking brain diseased, brother. Holy shit. Yeah, let's swap it. Okay. Anyway, I don't know the whole circumstances surrounding this mass shooting that took place. I'll look into it a little bit more, but it just reads, at first glance, it reads like online radicalization